Retro House was one of the most fascinating of all the houses, sited in the emptied National Gallery. Every room was based on a historical decade from as many of the past centuries as space would allow. Some said it was more of a museum than a house, but those who were part of Retro liked the variety. They could see how different the old days were when the grey hairs ruled, and children had to wait a lifetime to be noticed. Retro itself turned history into art, and Kim Sun had done as much as any other head of house to add to the atmosphere, removing the pictures to make space for the retro exhibits. The passion was the 20th century, with its extraordinary range of lifestyles and horrors. There were 10 rooms for each of the 10 vastly different decades, together with some special rooms which mixed and matched time periods in a potpourri of history. Her favourite period was the Roaring Twenties, which seemed similar to her own for fun, dance, music and laughter, except it was sandwiched between the greatest wars the world had ever known. There was a kind of recklessness about those days, the same kind of recklessness about her own days, as if they were also heading for a disaster which would change the world forever. The table was rectangular, and around it sat 19 of the 20 inner sanctum heads of houses. In clockwise order from Kim of Retro they were Byron of Pilgrim, Tabitha of Parenting, Aziz of Bandit, Parveen of Easton, Germaine of Liberation, Tarquin of Explorer, Lorelia of Masanic, Hassan of Seed, Monique of Concord, Salem of Market, Luke of Bankers, Rebecca of Millers, Tamsin of Culture, Sebastian of Circus, Lelia of Storm, Kristen of Poesy, Miriam of Tablet, and Anakind of Pyramid. Michael of Ireland had sent his apologies and would not be attending. These formed the elected inner sanctum of the 150 heads of houses. There was a sense of anticipation and anxiety. Apart from the 3 who discovered the intrigue, none of the others knew why they were there, only that they'd been called by Kim Sun of Retro to a special meeting. Not all the heads appreciated being called away from whatever they were doing, but Kim wanted it to be as secret as possible, which wasn't easy. Others didn't like Kim doing this because they wanted to be the centre of attention. Kim tapped the table and there was silence. Behind her a projection screen was lowered. Kim held a small pointing device in her hand. "Thanks for coming," she said. "Sorry to drag you from your houses. It's important." "Better be," said Leela. "Okay. A few days ago, 2 grey hairs were murdered in their compound. The killings were hushed up, but I know about them." "How do you know about them?" someone called out. "Doesn't matter how I know. I just know," said Kim. Mutterings and whisperings. "Go on, we haven't got all day," said Leela impatiently. Kim dimmed the lights and displayed on the screens pictures of Marie and Joshua. "These are the 2 suspects, but they did nothing. They're innocent." "Anyone can kill," said Parveen. "Maybe the grey hairs insulted them." Kim nodded. "Right. But this isn't a one-clue situation," she said. "I don't have a clear answer to all this, but if we put together all the pieces, let's see what we get." There was a lot of whispering and some disgruntled heads complaining whilst others waited patiently. It took some time for the news to leak, and to get these names. Their accounts were frozen, and now they've gone. "Gone where?" "Don't know, just gone." And they weren't alone. There were 2 others with them. "And they were?" asked Germaine. 2 prefects." "Don't tease," said Germaine. "Who?" Kim coughed. "Charlotte and Nathan." She didn't have to say their bloodline names. Everyone knew who they were. The discussion ebbed and flowed, and very little would have distracted them. However, they couldn't fail to react when, during a heated exchange, the lights suddenly went out completely, and the 2 doors offering access to the room locked shut with a distinctly menacing click. Kim stood up, puzzled. She flipped the light switches, but the room stayed dark. Aziz pulled on the door, but it stayed shut. "What's going on, Kim?" he asked. Kim shook her head. She had no idea. She went over to the emergency control panel, stumbling in the shadowy room, and tried an override, but nothing happened. Someone joked that the antiquated electric meter of the 1950s room had run out of money, but Kim knew this was no joke. She felt Retro House as if it was part of her own body. All the heads of houses, once they'd been in their job a while, felt the houses part of their lives. They got to know the idiosyncrasies of the buildings personally. This was more than usual. This was wrong. Kim felt a creeping sense of menace, a terrible sense of foreboding, and it was made manifest when the panic which started to take hold was hushed by a new voice, speaking, it seemed, through the walls of the room. "Heads of houses, please don't be alarmed. This will only take a few moments." The voice, a disembodied, gentle, female voice, stopped. There was a moment of absolute silence, followed by the hiss of something seeping in through the ventilation system of Retro House. But the voice was right. It only took a few moments.